Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the e-commerce lab by Ecomcy, the place of air related to Amazon, FBA, private label, and e-commerce. My name is Vincenzo Toscano, founder and CEO of Ecomcy. And today we bring on a special guest. His name is Hymie Zebedez, and he's an expert when it comes to organic ranking. That's why I wanted to bring Hymie today because we know organic ranking is something that we all Amazon sellers struggle every single day. At the end of the day, that's why I put so much money on things such as external traffic, such as PPC, because we know that the only way to build a profitable brand on Amazon is by having a strong organic ranking. And that's going to be all about today's conversation. So, Jaime, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today. How you doing, my friend?
Thank you for having me, Vincenzo. Doing great. Thank you. How are you?
Pleasure to have you here. I'm very excited about today's conversation. As I just briefly mentioned, I feel organic ranking is something that is on everybody's mouth when it comes to the struggle they are experiencing on Amazon, and I'm very keen to hear some of your takes and maybe things that you're experiencing that you see are working right now. Because I feel at the end of the day, if you don't figure out organic ranking, it's going to be very tough to scale your company on Amazon, right? So I guess before we dive into that, it would be great if you give us a background because we actually just had a conversation before going live. Like you launched your own brand as well. You have a lot of experience in this space. So tell us how you became so obsessed, I guess, with organic ranking.
So I'm a seller on Amazon private label for 12 years, and I sold my first business maybe about 9 years ago. But that was before there was, all the aggregators are buying up businesses left and
Mhm.
right. So could have made more, but I'm happy with what it was. And yeah, I've been managing since I built my own listing successfully, but there were a lot of things like I didn't have inventory. I didn't know how to deal with the factories and negotiating the rates. So I went up to people that are experts with that, but they don't know about Amazon. And I showed them my listings and how much I was making. And I said, let me do it for you. So I
Mhm.
started managing uh, brands for people and getting them on Amazon, building up their sales. And word spread. Hymie did this for me,
Mhm.
and I started doing it for more and more people. And I've been doing it for years. And about a year ago, a little over a year ago, I went back into becoming a seller myself again. I started my own brand on Amazon clothing, and we had a very, very good Q4. And it's I've always been a seller, but it's
Yeah,
also great to be back selling myself again. You know what I mean? And the
love
listing
it.
is doing great, and we got it ranked organically, and a
That's
lot of
so
fun
cool,
stuff.
so cool.
Yeah.
Love it. I think what I like about your story as well, which is similar to mine, is that you went through, to the hustle of having to figure out things on your own, and that's also what built the foundation and the expertise, and now you're able to provide to so many sellers. Because sometimes it's tough to really be able to provide, consultation to others if you didn't actually went through the mistakes and the learnings yourself, which I'm sure is at the same time what has allowed you to, figure out to some extent what is the key elements what are the key elements when it comes to mastering organic ranking. Because at the end of the day, I'm sure after doing it so many times, you have identified patterns, right? That things that are clear indicators and things that you must do to actually consolidate your ranking on Amazon. So I guess we can start with a brief, maybe introduction about that. Like, I'm keen to know, like, in 2024, like, what are some of the things you've been seeing that have been huge lifters of ranking based on your experience? Yeah.
So it sounds crazy, but not so much has changed
Okay.
from 12 years ago. Like
Okay.
there's obviously the strategies are different, but the fundamentals are really the same. You need to have something that's going to convert well. So to convert well, you need to have a great image. Obviously, a great image is much more important than it was in the past. My first listing, the image was like horrible, but there just wasn't so much good competition out there. But now you need a great main image. Um, your listing needs to be optimized with long tail, short tail keywords. But that's all like the stuff that's like the basic stuff that like everybody knows. Oh, you need an optimized title, bullets, everything like that.
Mhm.
Everyone knows that. But then there's like all these like very important things that a lot of people they neglect. Like when they first launched a product, what price are they putting it at? Are they putting it at a competitive price that's gonna they
Mhm.
know is gonna convert well, or are they putting it at like their target price? And like, how many reviews do they have in the beginning? Did they enroll it in Vine? I can go,
Yeah,
step by step with so many different things.
I feel you.
Like the way that I start it, usually I'll put things at a very low price. I'll put things at below my target price for two reasons. First of all, when I enroll in Vine, I like to make sure that like I give no opportunity to leave a bad review. So like when you're
Yes.
like the
Mm.
Vine reviewers, they're getting it for free, but they're still leaving reviews
They're
based
getting
off of
harsh,
like,
actually. Lately, they're
yeah.
getting harsh. Yeah.
So they're very picky people. But I'm saying if you're giving them something like unbelievable, like wow, this is a crazy price for this item, this quality, like they're gonna leave you better reviews. So like I want to make sure that nobody's pissed off about the product. Only
Yeah,
5-star reviews. And you're at a low price, you're getting 5-star reviews, and you're going to start advertising on a listing in the beginning with a small amount of reviews. You don't want to be at a high price. You want to be at a lower price to make sure that
exactly.
whoever sees it is going to buy. And like just
Yes,
showing Amazon all those little, triggers, all those things like, hey, like they're buying this person because Amazon's looking at everything. They're looking at, who did you click? Who did the customer click before you? Did they add two people to the cart and they only purchased one? Like they're comparing so many different things. And like, you really need to be crazy, like zoned in on it.
I agree. I agree. Actually, something I wanted to touch on that is going back. I mean, you mentioned, of course, images, optimization, and everything, and I think that's going to be the first point I wanted to bring to the conversation, which is conversion. I feel conversion has been one of the biggest KPIs Amazon is tracking to position your pro organically, because at the end of the day, it makes sense. They want to make sure that they put a pro organically high that is going to maximize the traffic that comes to the platform, right? So, tell us from a conversion point of view, like, do you see when it comes to keeping the consistency of conversion, do you have to do it through a long period of time? Because we know how the honeymoon period is an important thing, and now on top of that you have x amount of days that you have to maximize that period. So with conversion, do you feel it's the same? Like, do you need to convert for at least a week consistently, 2 weeks, 1 month? What is some of the timelines you have to show like good performance to Amazon to start seeing results on an organic level? Yeah.
I'm saying the way that I launch a listing is I'm extremely OCD about the image. Like
Mhm.
I look at, like, let me see the image before we launch it. Okay, look at the competitors. How is ours going to be compared to them? And then I'll look at it and I'll like write down like what I think is better, and then I'll show it to people. I'll say like which ones you think is better and why. Like I'll ask so many different people. I'll use different softwares to A/B test things, like, and just like what would people prefer. And like there's so many like little things, like, oh, maybe if we cut off a little bit of the white space, in the corners, it'll be bigger and it'll show more. Or maybe like you have to put some wording, you know what I mean? Like let's say there's a box in the background, you put some wording there, or
Mhm.
like something like every little thing. And that's just like the main image. Even all the secondary images, like I've made small changes that have made huge impacts on sales. Like if there was a product that like not everybody knew it had, like it could take care of this issue, but now we
Mhm.
made an infographic showing like it also works for this, or it helps with this. Like we saw sales go up, and then like we've seen returns go down by just changing like a size chart. Like they had a size chart, but it was just complicated. Like you look at it and there was so many things you don't really know how to read it, but it's like, do
Yeah,
you understand this? So like really thinking like from the customer's point of view, like
I love
looking
it.
at it. Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned something there very interesting, split testing, which I feel is something not a lot of people does. And you were giving some quick examples of how you make sure that you have the most optimal image and so on and so on and so on. So walk me a little bit through the strategy that you do for split testing. What I mean by that is, what is usually the things that you like to test, for how long you do split testing? How does it work usually for you?
Um, I'll usually use like a website like PickFu, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll run it through different, like which ones you like better, this or this, and why. And then I'll even make like then I'll pick the better one, and I'll even make more and more changes to it, and I'll compare. Like I'll do like 3 or 4 versions of like testing which is better. And then sometimes I'll use the Amazon's A/B testing, but it
Mm-hmm.
takes a little bit long to to get like all the results.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Especially if you're not making a lot, if you're not
You
spending
need
a
enough
lot or doing
data.
a lot of sales, yeah, you need to have that data. So it's a little bit, I like to do it more off of Amazon and like, okay, I'm looking at it like crazy. I'm asking
Hmm.
a lot of other people that I know, please analyze it, take a minute, like, what do you think and why? And then I'm also using like people that I don't know, like PickFu people, and
Hmm.
I'm just,
Yeah.
everything, whatever I can.
Cool. And now, from the perspective of split testing, of course, we are mainly talking about images now. But let's be honest, the copy is also going to be an important thing because throughout the journey of ranking organically, what happens multiple times is that if you're not on top of making sure you're indexing for the keywords, the ranking is moving in the right direction, all of that, you could easily be moving the wrong direction. So how does it work that in your structure as well? Like how you do, for example, keyword tracking, how you make sure you're always indexing? What is some of the methodology as well you use?
Is I'll use like a tool, like let's say Helium 10,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll look at the top, 3 or 4 guys that are very similar to my product, and I'll see like what are they ranking for in the top 10 spots, and then I'll start tracking their keywords, and then I'll make sure that whatever has the highest search volume and also the best organic ranking, I'll make sure that those words are in my title,
Mm-hmm.
and the weaker ones go into my bullet and my search terms, and then like all the leftovers go into like my description, and then my alt text also in the back. You can put like 100 characters, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll make sure that, because I don't there could be a lot of keywords that are good, but I don't want to put them all in my title, and it
Yeah.
sounds like unreadable and spammy, and you know what I mean, like people don't like that,
Yeah.
and Amazon doesn't
Again.
like that either. But also
Yeah.
you want to make sure you have the main couple keywords in your title
Yes.
at least.
Yeah, super important. In fact, something that I wanted to bring to the conversation, given that we're talking about keywords, is also the importance of PPC, right? I'm curious to hear also your take on that because on PPC, there's many things that people recommend. Some people say go very aggressive only with exact match keywords and focus only on ranking those keywords. Some people say go more broad. What is usually the also the structure you feel on the PPC level is being more effective? Like, do you feel certain kind of campaigns or targeting have been bigger in terms of contributing ranking for your products as well?
um So I think they all are going to contribute. So if I'm doing like a
Hmm.
broad or phrase or just auto, and if I'm at an aggressive price and I know that, or forget the price, if I know that I'm going to convert from showing on a lot of those terms, I know it's going to, start improving my ranking. But then when I see like a strong search volume keyword, something like that, I need to make sure that I'm doing an exact match, top of search, that I'm showing, you know, all the time, especially if I'm getting a lot of sales, because I want to make sure that I'm going to get enough sales to build up the rank. So like on my clothing brand, um, the main search term was like 190,000 search volume, and like I was always in like the 30th spot, and I wanted to get up high. So like I started spending like a lot of money. I don't know how much money I was spending on that exact keyword, but I was spending about, and it's on one product, about $3,000 a day in ad spend. And I did it for maybe 2 weeks straight, and I got ranked to the top 10 spots. I was maybe in like the sixth or
Mm-hmm.
seventh spot, and it was right before Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Also, like when so then I had the PED running, so that was like a 12-day PED deal, and I was getting crazy conversions, and it was selling like I was ranking for everything, like, and it was the organic rank was insane, because also the organic ranking, the search volume was going up to like 300,000-400,000 search
Mm-hmm.
volume, and I was on the top, and I actually had to it was selling too quickly, because every SKU is ranked individually. Like if I have a very good
Yes.
selling SKU and I run out of it, it kills my listing. So I actually had to stop all my ads and start raising my price. But I kept holding the organic rank for like 2 weeks afterwards, like holding
Interesting.
in the top 10 spots with zero ad spend. like on Cyber Monday, like the
Hmm.
one listing, it did about like $40,000 in sales.
Nice.
Zero ads, like not $1 spent on ads. But then I saw that the ranking started to drop, the organic ranking. But I don't think it's because of the ads. I think it was because we were extremely low on stock, and the lead time was just showing that it
I
was like
see.
you receive it in like 2 weeks. So
So
that's
kills
what I believe
conversion.
started. Yeah, that
Yeah.
started killing the conversion. But it was great to see that, if you go full force aggressive with it, you could build up a strong organic rank. And if you're converting very, very well, there's no reason you shouldn't stay there.
Love it. Now, let's talk very briefly about the timelines because I mean you briefly touched on that, but I'm sure a lot of people listening to this conversation they might say, okay, I'm doing all of this, but how much do I have to wait? How long do I have to wait? 2 weeks, a month? How do I know I'm moving in the right direction? Like, what is your answer usually to that? Like, people when they ask you.
I'm saying like my listing is a year old,
Mm.
and there were months where like my whole goal was I want to build this into something that's doing crazy numbers, and um, I wasn't worried about like the profit. Like I had months where we sold $50,000 for the month, and we lost $200. And then we lost $70,000, and it was like a break even. And like I wasn't concerned about. I was concerned more about building up the organic rank and
Momentum.
building up the momentum. And now like the listing, like the past 30 days, it sold almost $500,000. It sold almost $500,000 with
Yeah.
with very little ad spend. But I spent over $100,000 on it in a year on one
And it
product.
took
You know
it
what I
took
mean?
you 1 year. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm saying like if people expect overnight success, like yeah, you could get lucky, but I'm saying it depends on also how strong do you want to build something. Like any of the very very big companies, like they're focused on building and
Yeah.
and scaling,
Years.
not like oh I need profit right away. Why are
Which is
we?
what most people do on Amazon, which is why they get burned. Yeah.
Yeah, most people 100%.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to this strategy of organic ranking, have you implemented something with external traffic as well? Like, have you tried maybe with bringing traffic with influencer, with newsletter, things along those lines? What is your opinion on that? Because I know a lot of people lately have also been doing that. Like, have you tried? Do you think it's effective? Yeah.
So I've done things with like Google Ads,
Mm.
with like email blasts. It's effective. I think the Google Ads I didn't have such great results from. Um, the email blasts, things like that. Driving the traffic, I had very good results from. And influencers, I haven't really. The only influencers I've been using are on creator connections. So like on Amazon. I'll use and I love
Cool.
those. Just try to get the word. Right now, I told you like I'm having also like a stock issue, so like I'm trying to
Hmm.
slow down sales with no
Which is a
ads.
good issue to
Like
have.
I had no ads in Q4, so it's like great, but it's like imagine what we could have done if we did have
Yeah.
the proper inventory.
Love it.
Um,
Very good. Very good. And now, in terms of this, like when it comes to also everything that you're going with organic ranking, another conversation people also bring to the table is that they feel this is an exercise they have to do only once. And what I mean by this is they feel all this effort that we're talking about, focus on conversion, on being very aggressive on keywords and everything. You only do it throughout the launch and then you forget. But I know for a fact because I talk to a lot of sellers, a lot of them have maintenance strategies to keep the organic healthy. Like you also have to keep nurturing that because otherwise competition is gonna come and it's gonna take it from you. So in terms of nurturing, keeping organic ranking, is there some like a routine that you like to do or kind of thing to keep things healthy all the time when it comes to ranking?
so first of all, I like deals. Like you get like the best deals, 7-day deals. I feel like that, especially if you're already ranked well for things. I think having the those days of
And the
all that
badge and
extra
everything.
traffic, yeah, you
Yeah.
get the badge. It'll help you maintain the rank. But like, if you see something dropping in organic rank, you got to see like why, like who's taking your spot. Like if you're going down, that means somebody else
Exactly.
took your spot. So like, what are they doing differently? Did their price change? Are they being more aggressive on ads? Maybe we need to be more aggressive on ads. Maybe we need to put a coupon. Maybe you have to see like what's going on. Like now, because we're waiting on getting more stock in before we could push, and now like we're still selling, but like not nearly as strong as we were originally because of the lead time. But I know that we're going to have to spend money, at least in the beginning, to get it back to those positions of organic rank. I don't think it's just going to come there. Like I hope it's going to come there, and I have deals set up right now. I have deals set up for every week. I had one yesterday. I just had to cancel it. You know what I mean? Like I have them pre-set
Mm.
up, but when the inventory comes in, I'm going to start running deals. Hopefully, I'll get a big boost. But yeah, you gotta. If something comes down, you gotta push it back up. You can't just leave it.
Love it. Cool, cool. Now, in terms of also when it comes to organic ranking, another thing that I see is becoming a trend in terms of conversation is how AI is going to affect this. We see how Rufus is becoming more and more bigger thing in the US, and some people might say, "Oh, organic ranking eventually is going to become less and less important because it's going to come down to how AI recommends your products and things like that." Out of curiosity, like, do you see or have seen AI affecting the exposure of your pro or your clients, like when it comes to that? Like, what is also your some of the predictions when it comes to that?
I think that I don't think it's gonna hurt, your
Mhm.
organic ranking if you're prepared for like basically you need to make sure that your listing isn't just keyword stuffed and that it's
Exactly.
actually explaining the benefits of the product and how it could be used and answering questions and you know what I mean? It's not like yeah, you want to put your keywords, everywhere. You want the keywords to be visible and to be readable to Amazon, but you don't want it to just be mumbo jumbo. You want it to be something that, like, okay, if somebody has a question and they ask Rufus, would this work with this, or what are the best? Like it has to know everything about your product. If it,
Mhm.
and I think like I'm saying, people don't even do that with like forget the AI. People don't even do that with like the basic things from like the
Mm.
attributes. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of optional attributes that people they don't fill out in the back end, and they don't realize like if somebody's searching something, and they click one of the filters in the on the left side of the screen,
Exactly.
they click it,
Yeah.
and you didn't fill yours out. You're not popping up. So like I think it's kind of related to that a little bit also. You know what I mean? It's like a
Yeah.
similar idea. Like you need a
Optimize your listing as much as
yeah
possible.
yeah
The thing that you leave empty is basically a less attribution you can be found with, you know? So
exactly.
yeah. Awesome. So I think, I mean, this conversation is being awesome. I love it. I think to conclude, is there any last tip or maybe, a strategy you want to share in terms of organic, or it could be Amazon in general? Because I mean, of course, things go beyond organic. So anything you want to share?
I'll just share so many things about. I'll share one quick thing that I think is very important that a lot of people don't realize is that you can't just send in the minimum amount of stock to Amazon.
Mm,
You can't just send in a 30-day supply and think, okay, I have 30 days worth. I'm expecting to grow my business. If you have 30 days worth, what do you want to do? You want to double your sales. Now you have 2 weeks worth. Because also, like I built a thing on a Google Sheet where there's like you go to your inventory ledger and you could download where your inventory is in all the FBA centers, and you put all the zip codes in, and you can see like on a map like where is your
mhm.
inventory, and like if you're not sending out enough inventory, Amazon's not going to spread it out equally. And if they start spreading it out, which it probably won't be like equal, so great of a spread out, but like your stuff's going to be an FC transfer, it's not going to be readily available, and like you're not able to push it. And then a guy in California is going to see 2 day shipping, and a guy
Yeah.
in New York is going to see 4 day shipping, and like all those little things like affect it. Like you
Which
can't
is what we
push if
call,
you have
I believe
limited
you're
stock.
talking about geo ranking, right? Geo ranking.
Geo ranking and just like basic planning. Like you want to increase your sales. So why are you sending in what you're selling? Like why
Exactly.
are you sending in a month's worth of what you're selling now? If you
Yeah.
want to increase your sales, you're going to have to spend and you're going to have to build it up. And like you can't spend and build it up if you only have X amount of inventory.
Yeah, and it makes sense because at the end of the day, why would Amazon show number one on page one on Amazon a product that inventory is in California when the seller is in Florida and you have no inventory in
They
Florida? It's
they
like
they do. Yeah, it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
really crazy how, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Jaime, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for sharing, all this wisdom. I'm sure a lot of people might want to reach out or work with you, to receive your expertise on this. So how people can find you?
Connect with me on LinkedIn. You could also go to my website and search my name on Google or YouTube, but connect with me on LinkedIn. You'll be
Awesome.
able
I
to,
love it.
message me from
Thank
there.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna put all the information down below for people to find it. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and see you in the next one. Yeah, thank you so much.
Same. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Great. Thank you.